Hi, and welcome to the Colorado G-Men Show. Today, we're going to preview the Giants game against Washington and highlight some of the interesting things to watch during the game.
New York Giants, let's go defense. Ballin'. New York Giants, fly high, you know this.
First, I'd like to thank every single one of you for subscribing to the channel. We finally got over our mile mark of 100 subscribers. Cheers. Giants travel down to the nation's capital on Sunday morning, December 9th at 11 a.m. Mountain Time. For the second time this season, the Giants are favored, this time by 3.5 points, and on the road. These are two teams heading in completely different directions. The Redskins look like a shoo-in to win the division and get into the playoffs. That was before veteran quarterback Alex Smith broke his fibula and tibia, leaving the 6-3 team in free fall. Since then, the Redskins have lost 3 straight to come to this game at 6-6. Giants, on the other hand, have won 3 of their last 4 since the midseason bye week to enter into the fourth quarter of the season with a sense of optimism. Let's start out when the Giants have the ball. The injury report for the Giants offense, Shurmur claims that Evan Ingram will return to the field against Washington. Wide receivers Sterling Shepard and Odell Beckham will both be playing through injuries, as will rookie sensation running back Saquon Barkley. Washington placed 3 players on the IR this week. The 1D player placed on the IR is cornerback Quinton Dunbar, who's a big part of their backfield. Players to watch, linebacker Mason Foster is tied for number 5 in the NFL with combined tackles at 102. Linebacker Zach Brown is not that far behind with 78. The offensive line is going to have their hands full with linebacker Ryan Kerrigan and defensive end Matthew Ioannidis, who have 8 and 7.5 sacks respectively. We can't forget about Josh Norman, the professional smack talker. Him, Fabian Moreau, and DJ Swearinger round out the backfield, who each have 3 forced fumbles. Only 7 players in the NFL have more. With a stats breakdown, the offense has been reborn since the bye week. In the last 4 games, the Giants have averaged 132 rushing yards. That would have been good for 6th in the NFL if they were able to sustain that for the season. This should be an interesting matchup, as Washington's D does a good job of bottling up the run. Since Washington's D gives up plenty of yards in the air, it'll be interesting to see if Pat Shurmur reverts to his early season aerial assault that didn't work. When Eli's in the pocket, there should be some good matchups with Evan Ingram coming back as Quinton Dunbar is out. Look for Josh Norman and Fabian Moreau to tag team Odell Beckham. Eli only needs 55 passing yards to reach 5,500 yards in his career. Only 6 other quarterbacks have done this in history. Saquon only needs 46 rushing yards to hit 1,000 yards this season, and no Giants rookie has ever done that. Odell Beckham only needs 10 receptions to hit 400, and that'll be the fastest pace for any player to do this in the NFL, even with all that time that he's missed. Now let's talk about when Sanchez is taking snaps. On the defensive side of the ball, linebacker BJ Goodson is questionable, as is his backup Tate Davis, leaving the Giants very shallow at the linebacker position. The biggest news this week is that Landon Collins will have season-ending shoulder surgery to repair his torn labrum. He played through the injury for 2 weeks without reporting it, which explains why his performance was only slightly above average over that span. Since we probably won't speak of him much the rest of the season, I feel the need to talk about his contract. The Giants need to make signing Landon Collins to a long-term deal the highest priority in the offseason. He's a player to build around on that defensive side of the ball. The franchise tag doesn't cut it here. The top 5 strong safeties are paid over $1 million less on average than the top 5 free safeties, and you lose the negotiation chip of deferment by using the franchise tag. Let's put the negotiations on the side for a moment. Landon Collins has heart, more heart than almost anybody else on that team. He says the right things and he does the right things. He needs to stay in blue. The injury report for Washington, guard Jonathan Cooper and wide receiver Trey Quinn are the 2 offensive players that were placed on IR this week. This is in addition to the loss of quarterback Alex Smith and backup quarterback Colt McCoy. Obviously, quarterback Mark Sanchez is most famous for the butt fumble, but he's much more athletic than he gets credit for. Obviously, being the 3rd-string quarterback of the season, he's probably got a chip on his shoulder. Also to watch is running back Adrian Peterson. He's already racked up 856 rushing yards for an old man. By the way, 33 is an old man for a running back. That puts him 8th in the NFL. If you're curious, Saquon is number 3 in the NFL. Adrian Peterson also has 7 touchdowns, 6 of those rushing, 5 of the rushing touchdowns are in the red zone. Also watch tight end Jordan Reed. He's the most targeted receiver over the season with 83 targets and 56 receptions. Since Snacks' departure, the Giants have allowed 140 yards rushing per game. There are only 3 teams who have given more than that over the entire season. The Giants haven't had a game where they've given up less than 118 yards since Snacks left. If we took the Giants' best performance, which is 118 rushing yards, Giants average for this season, we'd be 18th in the NFL still. The defensive line stepped up this week, or at least B.J. Hill and Olivier Vernon did, combining for 5 sacks. Even adding that to the total, the Giants are still 30th in the NFL for sacks. Since Alex Smith got injured, which was less than 2.5 games ago, Washington has given up 8 sacks, 4 interceptions, and 2 forced fumbles. Sanchez's passer rating has been 53.7 in his limited exposure. If you're curious, McCoy's is 78.6. I don't anticipate our quarterback-seeking deficiencies will be a huge problem at Washington, as they'll likely pound the ball a lot. With how bad the Giants are at stopping the run, Adrian Peterson still being a beast, and a has-been who never was quarterback taking snaps, the game plan for Washington is painfully obvious. I know this is the keys to the game section, but it's far more interesting to highlight some interesting things to watch during the game. Who will reach their milestones? Remember, Eli only needs 55 passing yards, Saquon only needs 46 rushing yards, and Odell Beckham only needs 10 receptions. What will the offensive line look like? Should we expect another 5-sack game like last week? If so, when Eli drops back, will he actually have time to get the ball out if he's not getting sacked, also like last week? Will Saquon Barkley have holes to run through? Are they finally starting to gel? Also to watch, can the Giants get an early lead? This has been a hallmark of the Giants' success later in the season, not starting in a hole. And how will the Giants comport themselves? This final stretch of the season may have detrimental effects on the Giants' draft status. However, it's very important for Shermer to establish some momentum that they can bring into the next season. Thank you, everyone, for watching the Colorado G-Men show. We'll see you at the Tavern in Platt Park in Denver, the Lazy Dog in Boulder, and the Good Company Bar in Colorado Springs. We watch every game at all those locations. Don't forget to subscribe and go Giants!